Hi everyone, how are you? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Happy solstice to everyone. I don't really like to watch the camera here because it looks like I'm speaking alone to a machine. So when I look into your comments, I don't feel that I am alone, so I can share better. So let's begin with our topic for today. So I remind you before we start that we are still in the Gemini, the physical week of Gemini, and this is because for the new people that are following, we are not following the normal calendars that we have. We follow the ancient Atlantean calendar, which is much more related to concepts of time than exactly the tropical or the sidereal astrology. For those who follow the tropical astrology, today we begin with Cancer, but in our calendar, we have still 1 week more of Gemini. And for those who follow the sidereal, we have another month to go until we reach Cancer. So whatever you use, this one is conceptual. So just to wrap this idea before we finish, because I saw a question here, there is no a best calendar or a wrong calendar, or which one is the real one. There's no a real way or a real or best way to see the stars. There are different and many different points of view of how you can see it. So neither of them is the best one. It's just different points of view of the same thing. Okay, so you can check one of the videos that I did. I guess it was in Aquarius, the month of Aquarius, that you can check better there why and what is the tropical, the sidereal, so you can learn more. So someone maybe can help you know which video I spoke about it. So name. The topic for today is name. I explained yesterday that we humans, we are different from animals because we use words. We communicate with words. Many animals use sounds to communicate, but we structure a way of communication through sounds that we call words, and that can transfer data, information, complex concepts of information. Of course, that we can understand that there are some animals that reach some really complex way of communication that is much more than sounds. Like, for example, some whales, some other hominids in the earth, they can use some kind of sounds, specific sounds that can seem like words and transmit a lot of data and a lot of information in between the individuals. But we humans have accomplished to create hundreds of languages, very complex, with culture, religion, and many information that we can share to one another that made us be what we are. So in evolution, humans have been gifted with the gift of the word, to speak. So that's what we are. So not only humans, we use the concept of names, the words made into concepts. Like, for example, some mammals, like some whales, dolphins, and some hominids, they also have name for each other. So they can recognize each other through names. So we are not the only ones that use this kind of communication, of conceptual communication. What we can say about this is that we are not the only intelligent beings that exist in the planet that can name to each other, that can transmit information to one another. There are many, of course, but the difference that we got is that we were able to create and to handle the reality through those words, to transmit tools, to transmit information, and to make our dreams into a reality. So that's mainly what separated us from other intelligent beings on using words and using our ability to speak. So we can understand that this ability to name to each other was something that evolution took us through a long time ago, when some species acknowledge how to create their own tools to recognize the individual in between the herd. So they could know, okay, I have all the tools inside to transcend, to do something better, to create something different. So those beings that were able to say I am, to recognize the individual in between the rest, were intelligent beings that were able to build everything that we are. So all the intelligent species that exist and that were able to name to oneself, ones that can be divided from the animal kingdom and to be recognized as something beyond, as something much more intelligent. So throughout the history, when we evolved using sounds to determine our environment, we were using sounds like Z for the bee, we were using tak for a heat. So these kind of sounds were the ones used to determine all the objects that were around, so we can picture where we were. But suddenly, the intelligence comes in the moment when we are able to determine who we are inside those objects. So when I myself understand me myself, I understand that I am another object separate from the others that has a history, a feeling, a body, a thought, so that can determine a being, something that is much more abstract to understand. So when I can name something that embodies all the previous concepts, when I can embrace all that in one name, we become intelligent beings. We become someone that is able to handle the reality, because it understands something that is abstract, something that is beyond the reality. So as I said, many other mammals use this process, this naming the beings, the self, but we started to use it in order to transcend and to make something different, make something transcendental, to create cultures and technology and so on. The important thing to know here is that names are a conjunction of vibrations, are a conjunction of different resonances in a wavelength of frequency. So I explained once about colors, why we see colors. The reason why we see colors is not because the things has a color, but because the thing has a specific structure that when the light hit those structures, it creates a frequency in the wave that if we in our eyes are able to capture, we can see the color. So the colors we see in our reality are not because they are there. It's basically because we can perceive them. If we cannot perceive these wavelengths, we are not going to see the colors. Okay, so it's basically everything about vibration and wavelengths. So reality is not real as we see it. It's just real as we perceive it. So the sounds that we perceive, that we listen in our life, affect us according to how we resound with. So this means that everything that is around us, that hit us, is constantly conditioning what we are. Everything that we listen, that we see, that we feel, is basically molding what we are, how we are in our daily life. So this works like this, like the environment conditioning us all the time, because we live our lives through unconscious. And it's not bad to be unconscious and aware, but if we are willing to become aware and a conscious person, we have to acknowledge this, that if we live through unconsciousness, the environment will condition what we are. But if we become aware and we know how to handle our inside, so we will be the ones handling the outside and using the reality, not the other way around. So this is not something this time. This is something from the very beginning, from the main cell, the first cell that existed in this planet. It's been like that. The environment is conditioning us all the time. But a few people, a few beings, were able to transcend that, and that's why they seem not to be in this planet. Like if they are living a parallel reality, for sure. So where does the name take a part on all this? Where? Well, a name is basically one of the main vibrations that you can hear and that you listen in your life. And it's the one that you hear the most. Is the one that your parents tell to you, is the one with which you recognize, is the one that friends, family, partners, at school, at work, in society, all of them call you this name. So people, when they say your name, is like a vibration molding everything that you are. So it's like holding the name holds the entire package of your body, your soul, and your spirit, your physical, your emotional, and your mind. Just one name embodies all what you are. So when people tell your name, it molds vibrationally what you are. The importance of the name is very, very huge, because it's not something that we just use to call ourselves. It's the main vibration that molds, in essence, what we are in all ourself. Not only because other ones call us that name, but also because we ourselves introduce ourselves saying, I am Matias, saying the name. So when we say that name with the I am, we are recognizing that we are that vibration. So it's beyond what we believe, it's beyond the history, it's beyond if we like it or not. It conditions all the time, every time that we say it. So regarding the name, it is so important that we have to make these questions. Like, what is the meaning of my name? From where it came from? Why named me like that? What is the history behind this name? Do I like the name? I don't like the name. Why I like it? Why I don't like it? Do I have any nickname? Do I feel much more comfortable with that nickname than with my name? Why? If I changed my name, why I would choose to change it? How do I feel with that? So all these kind of questions are the ones that we have to make ourselves, because a name is basically the vibration that encodes the entire being that we are. So it's not just a simple thing. It's like a whole package of concepts. So one of the things that we have to do, questioning ourselves, is if I don't like my name and I want to change it, or I use another different name, the question would be, it's okay, you can change it, it's not a problem. The thing is that in order to change it consciously, we have to pay attention to why I decided to change it, why I don't like the other name. What are the things that I am hiding from myself, that I deny of myself, that I don't want to see for myself? Because when we do that, we are denying a part of oneself. It's important to understand that every vibration, everything that we have been using has been molding us since the very beginning. So they have conditioned what we are. So if I want to change into something new, different, and I want to change my name, the way that you can do it consciously is if you recognize why you want to change the name. What is the package of information that is hidden that you don't want to see? So you can transform consciously and not to carry some data that you don't want. We also have spiritual names, of course, from other levels. Me, myself, I remember my name in other levels, which is Gan. But I would recommend not to use those names here, because the name that you are called now is the name that is the package of information that you need for this incarnation now, for a tool that you need to solve right now. So in this incarnation, I am Matias Gustavo De Stefano, not Gan. So if I make people call me Gan, my energy would be totally different, and I wouldn't have the opportunity to really do my work here as Matias. Also, some of the things that used to happen is that we commonly deny our names when we present or introduce to the world. Sometimes I see that some people in the social media, they write a different name, like I don't know, like beautiful star or green earth or these kind of names, yeah, which is perfect. It's not nothing to judge about it. But when you put those names, the question here would be, are you saying that name because you want to bring that into the world? Or be sincere and ask yourself, are you doing those names because you want to hide what you are? So the question here is very important, because we have to acknowledge, to recognize if we are really doing this because we want to manifest that in ourselves, or because we are trying to hide something that we don't like. Like, for example, the person called Beautiful Star, maybe her name is Dolores. Dolores means, in Spanish, means pain, okay? So something that hurts. So maybe you don't want to be called Dolores because it's painful. So you say, I want to be a shining star. But the question would be, what are the things that you are not healing of those pains? Why you are not facing those pains? Why do you want to be something different? So from where are we willing to be called different? So there's no judgment in what I'm trying to say here. What I'm trying to encourage you is to question yourself why we call us as as we are. If we use a nickname or we just make abbreviations of our words, just a letter and a dot, or why we use second name instead of the first one, I don't know, anything that you could think about of how are you called and how do you want to be called, are telling you about many things of how you live your life, of how you are presented in your life. So this is the hard work to do, to investigate about the etymology of the word and so on. Also, besides the name, which is how we call ourselves, our nicknames, we also have the surnames. The surnames are the ones that brings the information from the entire group. So from a whole herd, a whole family, a clan, the surnames has the information from way before, from all people in our history. What we have to look for is the meaning of the surnames to understand what I inherit from my family, from all of them, from where it come from, the heraldic of this. The meaning of the surname can help us to understand what are we doing as a group. And the important thing is how are you called, not if it is the mother name or the father name, is how you recognize yourself, which names you recognize as your own. Okay, that's the important thing. So sometimes when we start to investigate about our family name, we discover surnames that were behind the odds, and we start to find out names of our family tree that can surprise us, and from where we come from, and all the history behind these people, and suddenly we can figure out many things that can help us to understand our traumas, our conflicts today. So sometimes the solution to understand some of these conflicts are written in our names and surnames, and it was so close to us that we see it. So also you have to see the surnames of adoptions, like why have been adopted, and what are the surnames of the people that adopted, and so on. Like I don't know in English, but I don't know any surname in English like this, but in Spanish we have a name that is Esposito, that is the name used for the people that were abandoned, and they were like just garbage people. It's kind of like this, so they were called Esposito. In the English side, of course, we have many people that were that has names that were about escaping or being people that were slaves. Like for example, in the States, we have a lot of people named like son of someone, which was the owner of them, like Johnson, Wilson, and all these kind of surnames that are marking that they were owned by someone. Okay, so that's why most of the Black people in the States has names ended in son, for example, or some other names like Freeman, because they were names used to say that they were free now. Okay, so there are many other concepts of names that can tell you about the history, the hidden history of yourself, of who you are. So the task for today for everyone is to start looking for your name, the etymology of the name, the origin of the name, why have you been called like this, the surnames and the history behind it. So try to look about all that information that is in your name, because it contains all the data that have shaped you, that have shaped who you are. So I wouldn't recommend any website or specific bibliography for you to look for a name, because when you start to look for that in the internet, there are so many, and some of them are very soft. Like when you ask for a name, they say that person is very wise or noble, and it's not like this. So you have to look much more, and don't keep the same thing, the first thing that appears to you. Just pay much more attention and look farther. Okay, don't keep with only one vision of the name. So just a simple thing that sometimes could happen, that most of the people in the Americas that has kind of the same name. If you see along the Americas, you will see a lot of people with the same surname. It's not because their families had that surname, but it was because maybe they were slaves or worked for some feudal, some landlord that had them. Okay, so in the time that we had to use surnames for the first time in Americas, they used the names of their owner. Okay, so that's why we have so many people in the Americas without real surname, but a surname that took from others. Okay, or someone gave the surname to them. So important to know, because some people from the Americas maybe will say, "Oh, I come from the Hernandez family from Spain or the Smith family from England," and it's not. So just for you to know, to look beyond, because in the Americas people didn't have surname, basically. So that's why it was lost. So let's go to the information for today. The vibration for today is Kai. The statement for today is, I am a product of correspondence.